Welcome to the Honeypot podcast for sweet conversations. I'm your host, Carmen Hendrix, and this is where you can find news, a little bit of tea, and even your next favorite artist. Today we have the debonair Mr. Brian Handy, author of I Just Look Like This and Army Life Is Not My Style. And as we learn about him and his books, we will also talk about some of today's news. Brian is from Milwaukee and currently living in Virginia. He's a graduate of Jackson State University, yay, and Liberty University, and also a military veteran. So Brian, tell us a little bit about yourself.
I think you probably summed it up as far as much as information that I really want to give to everybody, but a little bit more. Married for 7 years, 2 wonderful kids, beautiful wife, just enjoying life and excited to do my own thing and not have to worry about what anybody else has to say about it. Trying to become my own boss.
Exactly. That is the best way to be. Okay, so today I want to kind of give everybody a little background on how we're going to do our podcast today. Today is an author interview, and we're going to discuss news in between questions about you, because I believe that news is really what helps shape and mold us as writers. So let's go ahead and get right into it. Are you ready? Okay. So let's talk about Matt Lauer. For those of you who are not familiar with what's going on with Matt, he is fired now. And this comes a little more than a week after CBS fired Charlie Rose after the Washington Post published a report detailing allegations of his sexual misconduct by 8 women. A tweet was sent out by NBC News, and it read, "On Monday night, we received a detailed complaint from a colleague about inappropriate sexual behavior in the workplace by Matt Lauer. As a result, we've decided to terminate his employment." And then NBC chairman Andy Lack went on to say, while it is the first complaint about his behavior in over 20 years he's been in NBC, we were presented with reason to believe this may not have been an isolated incident. Our highest priority is to create a workplace environment where everyone feels safe and protected. Now, it has come out later that Yashar Ali of HuffPost and the New York Times were reportedly working on exposés that would have ultimately shed light on this whole situation, and NBC was trying to get ahead of it. So what do you think about that?
I think NBC may have done the right thing, but maybe they're probably overreacting, not in the sense that the allegation is not true, but it seems like within politics and within, I guess, that industry, it's better to be on the safe side of things. So instead of having him on for another episode, and when it came out that the allegations happened, or the accuser or the victim, was there Monday talking with the network and head people, they figure instead of having him do maybe a few more episodes, get rid of him as soon as possible so they won't face that particular backlash compared to what's going on now. I think they just try to get ahead of the curveball instead of, well, you found out about it Monday, so why was he still doing episodes Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, or whenever they probably wanted to fire him later on?
Well, Yashar is alleging that they did know, and they were trying to get ahead of it before the big expose came out. So they're saying that they did know that it was going on, they just didn't do anything about it. So what do you think about that? Especially looking at the situations going on now with everything in Hollywood kind of going awry with Weinstein and Kevin Spacey and those big names that have now been accused of misconduct. What do you think about that?
I question the timing. Not saying I disagree with the victims or the ones that claim that they were sexually assaulted by any of these people, but some of the people that came out and said that they were sexually harassed or sexually abused by these, I guess the guy Weinstein, for example,
Mm-hmm.
why now? If it happened years ago, why now bring it out? Why not talk about it now? I guess, and to me, from my outlook on it, as far as within the entertainment industry, or more specifically Hollywood, as they say, I think people in that industry look at it as any publicity can be considered good publicity.
Mm-hmm.
I seen one interview with Terry Crews, the guy from Everybody Hates Chris, and he came out and said that he was also sexually assaulted or sexually abused by, I think it was Mr. Weinstein or somebody else. And my question was, well, if it happened, and he said it happened years ago, why come out about it now? And the interview that I seen, he stated that, well, I couldn't look at my children, or I couldn't face my family knowing that it happened to me and I haven't said anything. And I'm pretty sure it didn't happen a week ago or even a month ago. It probably happened years ago when he first started getting into the industry, before he got as popular or as big as he is now. And my question is, was it okay then because you were on your way up trying to get to this platform or this particular status? Is it okay now? It was okay then when it happened because you're trying to move up. But now that I guess you're established, you're a veteran in that industry, now you complaining, or not complaining, but now you're coming out saying that, oh, well, I too was a victim and I had to live with this. And my thinking was, I didn't see any of this being a victim of assault or sexual harassment during Everybody Hates Chris episodes. I never seen it during the Old Spice commercials. So in some cases, depending on who it was, I question the time frame. Like I said, if it's really that bad to you, if it really hurt you that bad, then I believe you would have came out immediately after it happened, not a few years later when now everybody's coming out. Like I said, I believe in Hollywood, in that industry, regardless of the publicity, it can be turned into good publicity for a specific person. I think not everyone, but maybe some people are taking that advantage of, okay, well, my name hasn't been out there for a while. And yes, it happened to me, but I guess now that this is my way to jump back into the limelight in some way or form.
Well, isn't he? I thought he was doing some television show, but actually, he initially came out and said that the reason why he did not say anything was because it would have been career affecting. But it happened at a party, and he was with his wife. It happened in front of his wife, so his wife was there when everything occurred. A lot of people have talked about it. I mean, we all hear or we've heard of the casting couch, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So we know that it has happened. We know that, but I understand. I think I was watching Sister Circle Live, and Selena Johnson made the same point. She said that she also questions some motives. Not everyone, but you also have some people who are treacherous, who are coming out now because they want their name out there, or they just want to get the piece of the pie. So I definitely don't think that that's the case with him, because he initially stated that he would not say who it was, and he was really just trying to be there for the women who had come forward saying, yeah, this happened, and it didn't just happen to women, and I'm here, I stand for you. I don't really think that he was trying to get that extra publicity. I could be wrong, but I think that he really was just trying to do that in support of the women who had come forward. So now that we've said that, and we're talking about publicity, what do you as a writer think about marketing? What are your marketing strategies? What are you doing to get your name out there so that other people can know about you and your books?
I think social media is a big marketing opportunity for a lot of writers, a lot of authors, almost anybody that's trying to get exposure. I think social media is a big tool that's become available within the last few years that regardless, people can take advantage of to highlight whatever they're doing, whatever they're trying to promote, whatever they're trying to sell. Also, for me, not necessarily book signings, which I also do, but as a vendor, me going around to different locations and selling books at Pacific, whether it be a hospital, military bases, um, flea markets, in the mall. I mean, so many ways to get your word out there, get your message, an opportunity to sell a product that you have. Is marketing now is so, it's not as tough as it used to be. I think it's an opportunity where you don't have to be an expert in marketing to build your brand or provide a service or a product to those that's out there now. I think marketing now has become, have you logged onto a website? Have you created this platform on this particular website? And there, that in itself is, okay, well, I got Instagram, Facebook, Snapchat, all these different social media sites, and place your product on there and let the people know, okay, this is where they can get it from. This is how much it is. And that's, to me, in itself is marketing.
Okay, I'm glad that you mentioned that because at the end of this, I will ask you to provide your social media information, and then I'll also list it in the link. So anyone who's interested in you and your books will be able to go and find you. So this is definitely going to be one of those avenues. Now, you've started your own publishing company. So tell us a little bit about your publishing company and tell us about how publishing your first book changed you and your process of writing.
Well, a little bit about the publishing company. It's called Each One Teach One Publishing. I believe that everybody has a story that they can tell that could benefit other people. And so the whole point was, regardless of the information is out there, you never know who could benefit from it, who could learn from it. And so that's why I came up with the name of Each One Teach One Publishing.
Awesome.
And what was the second part of your question again?
How has publishing changed you in your process of writing?
I don't think it's changed me. I think it's given me a broader spectrum of the possibilities that writing and publishing has to offer. For an example, me being on this interview right now, this probably would have never happened. This opportunity would have never came about for me had I not started writing. So I think just the opportunities that writing, publishing, starting your own business, once you jump off that ledge and believe in yourself, that you never know what opportunities may lay at the bottom.
Okay, so tell your readers, tell everyone here about your books and what they can expect when they read them. Because we're not going to say if, we're going to say when they read your.
Well, one of the first books I wrote was entitled "I Just Look Like This," and usually a lot of people say they want to write a book, and I think that's a lot of people say, "Oh, I want to write a book one day. I'm going to write a story about my life," and I figured, why not actually go ahead and do it? And so it's, for me, the process started, okay, well, I don't know exactly what I'm going to write, but I'm just going to write for 5 minutes. And that 5 minutes turned into 10 minutes, and 10 minutes turned into 20 minutes. And so I kept doing that over time, and it took me maybe about 2 years to complete that first book. That's the first book that I've written. And that's basically my life, coming from Milwaukee, Wisconsin, graduating high school with a 1.4 GPA. Didn't think that I had many opportunities. I didn't put my best foot forward while in grade school. And so it's basically take advantage of the opportunities that you have, believe in yourself, believe that God has a plan for you, and regardless of what anybody says, tune them out, because only you are in control of what you do. And you can go to the left or you can go to the right, but it's up to you, and you can't blame or you can't get mad at anybody else for the decisions that you make for yourself. So that's basically what the first book is about, just my story of where I'm from, what I was doing, and how I came to get where I'm at now. This is
Mm-hmm.
more like a trial and tribulation story. The second book that I have is Army Life is Not My Style, the story of the junior enlisted soldier. And that perspective is from, I think a lot of people that join the military or think about getting into the military
Mm-hmm.
don't understand that it's a business, and understand when business is good, everybody's happy, everybody's doing great. But when business is bad, there's layoffs, closures. And a lot of people, I believe, jump into the military thinking, okay, this is gonna set me up for life. This is gonna have me retire when I'm done. And you can make it that type of thing, but it usually doesn't happen like that. So my book entitled is to give future soldiers and current soldiers an opportunity to more in depth know what the military is about. Understand that no one's going to take care of you better than yourself. You came
Mm-hmm.
into the military by yourself, so you have to do what's best for you while you're in the military so that you have a better chance of succeeding when you get out. Nobody wants to join the military and leave the same way they came in. And
Mm-hmm.
so I just trying to put together some information for the soldiers that's in the military now and future soldiers that take advantage of these opportunities as far as going to school, getting your education, fixing your credit score, paying down your student loans. There's so many things that you could do that can benefit you when you leave while you're in the military. And a lot of times I've seen soldiers that I work with and that I know didn't take advantage of the opportunities. And when it was time for them to go, it was more so, okay, well, on their resume, well, I deployed to Iraq twice and once to Afghanistan. And it was like, that's it. And you got to have more than that on the resume if you're trying to look for a job when you get out,
Mm-hmm.
to be a potential candidate for somebody. Nobody wants somebody that just deployed and hasn't had anything else that can benefit them once they leave the military. And so the
Right.
book is basically an understanding of why you in, take advantage of it, use every resource that the military has because they're going to get everything from you. What are you going to get in return?
Exactly. They definitely are. Um, so I'm glad that you mentioned that and you brought that up. You talked about getting your credit score up and those types of things. One of the things that's in the news now is Bitcoin and cryptocurrency. Are you familiar with that?
A little bit. I think it's something that I read about. I guess it's like Google when it first started. I know about it, but I'm not really sure that it's for me. It just I guess I have to wait a little bit.
Well, it's something that's definitely in the news now. And I'm an advocate of informing people about investing. Now, I'm new to it, so I can't give you word for word what to do, but I definitely will suggest that anybody research it. So right now, it is past the $11,000 mark. And it reached that in a day from the $10,000 mark, which it took months, well, years to get to $10,000. So it hit $11,155.20 around 9 a.m. Eastern time, according to CoinDesk. And it's risen more than 70% since October and over 900% since the start of the year. So this is something definitely that people need to understand, that they need to get into. There are so many things that you can do. And when you have that opportunity, like you said, when you have the opportunity to be able to do more with your life, or there are other opportunities out there that you can learn from, that's when you take advantage and learn and try to get to know. And we as a Black community, we are not equipped with financial education. We're not
Hmm.
equipped with learning how to invest and what it means. We're not equipped with information about our credit and how it affects our entire lives. And so I'm glad that that's something that you talk about in your book, because it's something that people definitely need to know and understand. And then you also talked about just people who think that because they're in a career or you said in the military, that's all they need to do, or they're kind of set for life. And that's kind of true in a lot of different situations where we have athletes or musicians who feel like, okay, once they've made it, and they don't understand that if they don't save and they don't do what they need to do to try to prepare for their future, that what they have can be gone. And speaking of, this is another news brief. Do you remember the situation with Rae Carruth?
I do. Unfortunately,
Okay.
I do.
So his son, the son that he attempted to murder, Chancellor Lee, turned 18 recently on Thursday, November 16th. So he was born prematurely. He was 10 weeks premature, and he has cerebral palsy and permanent brain damage due to that traumatic birth. But he has persevered, and he's a wonderful person, has a wonderful personality. His grandmother has raised him. She's an advocate for anger management. She has forgiven Rae Carruth, and he's actually set to be released October 22nd of next year. So give me a little bit of information. What do you think about that?
I think it's a testament to his will. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, based upon what happened to him, his mother, even with his father, that he still, and I think it's so great that he has positive people around him, like his grandmother. I remember
Yes.
hearing a story, and I remember they were saying that, I forgot what I was watching at the time, but they were saying that, I'm not exactly sure, but maybe like either the son wants to meet his father or Rae Carruth wants to meet his son. And if you actually look at them, they look exactly alike.
They
Like you
do.
can't tell them a difference. They look exact. There's no way that he can say that's not his. But I hope that with the father that he's able to somehow get involved in the child's life, even if it's from a weekend visits or something like that, because at the end of the day, I believe every child needs their father and their mother in some capacity. And hopefully, with everything's going on between that family, from Rae Carruth's side, the father, he can somehow try to be some type of positive influence. Like I said, you can't erase the past. And it's unfortunate what happened. And maybe he can tell his son, hey, this is what I was going through at the time. Unfortunately, you were and your mother were victims of that. And I hope that the son can somehow forgive him or try to get an understanding. But tragic as it was, there still can be a bright star or shining light at the end of it. I mean, you can't you can't go back in time, but you can take the opportunity to look for the future. And I hope that he's able to live in society to where he's functional, because like I say, he's in the care of his grandmother, and I'm not sure exactly how long she's going to be able to take care of him. Maybe when he gets around 30, hopefully his father is a positive influence in his life and other people around him, so that he can maintain a lifestyle
Mm-hmm.
that he wants to. And I would hope that the father gets off of whatever he was on, especially being all the time that he was locked up, that he wants to be the father to his child. That's what I hope. But I'm happy for him that he's turned 18, and it's like,
Yeah, he persevered.
yeah, he persevered through it. And all you can do is say, man, God was watching out for that little boy.
Yeah, and actually, he has already said that he's forgiven his father, and he's the one who wants to meet him. So he wants to meet him.
Yeah.
So
And I hope that the father
mhm.
looks at that as, man, even though I've done this child wrong, and also his mother, he still wants to reach out to me. So I hope that the
Yes.
father takes that into consideration and gets to know his son.
Yes, and he's been surrounded with loving family members who I'm sure will take care of him. I hope for the best for him and in his situation. And speaking of family, you said you were married. Did you say that you
Yes.
had
2 kids.
two kids? Wonderful. Okay, so how does your family support you in your writing endeavors?
And pretty much, I would say they encouraged me to continue writing. When I was writing, my children sit there and watch me from time to time, and they also started writing. And so it was like,
Awesome.
okay, well, I'm doing something that they see that they want to do also. So one of the things that I'm working on is having them write their own book. I use that opportunity, like I said, writing with my family. My children started writing as well. And it's like they see me writing a book and I show them the book and they're like, oh, well, I want to write my own book too. And it's like, maybe they could be a better author than me,
Yeah, so
even
you
more.
legacy over
So
there.
I'm encouraging them to get them together so they can write a book. They started with, I guess, their outline. And so hopefully by January, I can have their own books printed out so they can take it to school, take it to show and tell, and let the kids and other teachers know, hey, look, I also wrote a book just like my dad.
That is awesome. You are building a legacy. You go
I'm
ahead and
trying. I really am.
yeah, see, and then with your publishing company, you're able to do that, and then you can
Hmm.
teach them the ins and outs of the business, which I've learned in my endeavors. I've learned that there are a lot of people who really don't know the back end information that you really need to know when you're publishing a book. They think you write it and you're done. No, it's so
Yeah.
much more to that. So much more to that. Okay, so in the books that you've written and in your future books, do you want each one of your books to stand on its own, or are you trying to build a body of work that has a connection um, with the book prior to? Not necessarily a series, but still kind of have some type of connection or theme.
Other than for the books that I'm writing, other than me being an author, each book stands on its own. Like the autobiography that I have, I Just Look Like This, that has nothing to do with the military. That book is completely different. I Look
Mhm.
Like This book is my life and what happened within my life growing up. The military book, this is from the perspective of a U.S. soldier that's been in the military and things that I've seen from that perspective. So, and also the book that I'm writing now, um, I Am Not My Spouse's Rank, is told from a different perspective, from military spouses in the military, whether it's male, female, and like I said, that book stands on its own. So I'm thinking about putting another book together that coincides with one of them so far, but as of right now, each book stands on its own.
So you mentioned earlier that as a vendor, you go to like the military bases. Do you find that it's difficult to get on the military base to sell your books? Is it some type of requirement in order for you to be able to do that? What's your process there?
As an author, you don't have to, you can just call um, operations. I can't exactly remember who exactly do you talk to on military bases, but they have it to where if you're an author, they can schedule you a day to come in, bring your books in, and sell your books. And it's not like, I guess, in the middle of the mall to where you have a area set up every day. No, they have a table for you. I think it's a small fee at the end of the day, depending on how many books you sell. And that's pretty much it. So it's not really hard to just, once you get your foot in the door, everything just opens up. And like, I think that's one of the opportunities that being a writer, being an author provides, that maybe other people that's, well, I don't know if I really want to write, or I don't know if I have anything to write about. Once you get that information out, so many opportunities open up that it's like, okay, well, let me do this on Monday, let me do this on Tuesday, let me do this on Wednesday. And it's, you got to be able to take advantage of the opportunity, because you might go a few weeks, a few months without much sales. So when the opportunity comes up, you got to take it and put your best foot forward and hope that it works out for you.
Okay, so what advice would you give a new author that comes to you and says, "Hey, look, I want to write. I've already started, but I'm kind of stuck, and I just want to know what my process is or what my next step needs to be." What advice would you give that person?
For a writer that's thinking about writing, I would say just write. Don't worry about trying to edit it as you write. Just
That's what
write. Get all the information down. When I was writing, I had so many blue lines and red lines when I was writing that it was ridiculous. But, and the spelling was all wrong, and I knew it, but the goal was to get the information out. I
right.
remember listening to or reading a quote by Maya Angelou, and she said, or somebody asked her, what makes a great writer? And she said, just write. Don't worry about corrections. Just get the information down. Then you'll have time to go back once you got all the information out to go correct everything. And so that's what I would tell new writers or people that's thinking about writing. Don't worry about trying to correct it. Just put whatever you're trying to put out, get the information down, then go back and, okay, if this sentence doesn't make sense, add more detail. If that's too much information, then take that out. But make sure you get the information out first. I think that's the most critical part of it.
Yeah, I often tell people the same thing. So it's good to know that you and I are on the same page with that. All right, let's get back to some news of the day. We talked about marriage. So let's talk about Prince Harry and Meghan Markle and their engagement. Now, we know that they are set to have their wedding next year in the spring. So congratulations to them. And
Congrats.
what do you think about that? Because I was reading somewhere that Meghan Markle marrying into the royal family has different ramifications. She won't be able to eat shellfish anymore, and it's a possibility that she will no longer be able to be an actress anymore as well. So, what do you think about
Like I said, that's a whole different, I guess, family system compared to that's being, I would say marrying into royalty has its rules and regulations. And to me, that's what it kind of sounds like when you say, I guess, that she can't eat
that?
shellfish or something like that, Emir. So
Right.
it's like, is it worth it? To her, maybe it is. Maybe to other people that's not of royalty or in that lifestyle, they may think, well, I don't really want to give up anything as far as what I'm eating just to get married. So I think that's just the role that she has to play, and maybe many others within that lifestyle that comes with it. Is you have to be a certain way, you have to present yourself a certain way, because it's not just any family. It's, I guess, in Britain, the royal family. So if she's okay with it, I'm happy for her. If he's okay with it, happy for him. I hope it works out.
Okay. I agree. I think that when you love someone, you are willing to do some things that you would normally do. And they seem to really be in love. And I hope for the best for them. I'm always about love. I'm a hopeless romantic, so I'm always about love. Okay, so the Billboard dropped the complete list of the 2018 Grammy nominations yesterday. And Jay-Z leads the pack with 8 nominations this year, including nods for Album of the Year, Record of the Year, Song of the Year, and Best Rap Album. Kendrick Lamar follows with 7 nods. Bruno Mars is the third most nominated artist with 6. SZA is 2018's most Grammy nominated woman with 5 nods. Khalid, Childish Gambino, and producer No ID all scored 5 nominations. Are you familiar with what goes on? Because I don't really watch the Grammys. I know I should, but I just don't. Not that I don't think it's interesting, because I do. It's just that sometimes I think the awards shows are kind of over the top. So what do you think about that? About those
I think me and
nominations?
you in the same boat in regards to award shows. I mean, I'm happy for the people that got nominated, but I guess in my own way, I'm trying to get my own Grammy in my
That's
own area. So while I'm happy for their success and what they're doing, I'm over here trying to create my own success. So like I said, I congratulate them, but I'm also working on my own Grammy on my side.
okay. So I'm glad you said that, because that leads me to my next question. What does literary success look like to you?
When somebody tells me that they read one of my books and it taught them something or gave them knowledge about something that they wasn't sure about before, they didn't have any idea about prior to reading one of my books.
Mhm.
Like I said, the companies each one teach one. And to me, as long as you can teach somebody something else that maybe they didn't know about or didn't have too much information about, that's the goal. And to me, everybody is able to teach somebody something else. And so that's why I believe, to me, that's literary success. When you're able to get back in touch with one of your readers and say, man, I read your books and I benefited from them. And also I learned a little bit more than I had, maybe whether it's about myself, about the military, whatever the case may be. I learned a little bit more than I had prior to reading your books. So to me, that's literary success. That's the goal.
I agree with that. I feel the same way. I think that if you are able to reach one person, even if it's just one person, that means so much, because your story could have changed that one person's life. And it's like a pay it forward type situation. You've saved somebody or you've helped someone, and then hopefully they will help someone with what they've learned from you. So I've learned from you today in just this interview. So I definitely agree with that. So is there anything else you'd like to share today on the podcast?
I recommend anybody that's trying to enhance their brand, promote themselves, to also reach out to you,
Oh,
join
thank
your
you.
podcast and do an interview, because Walmart wasn't started as big as it is today. Amazon wasn't started as big as it. You got to start somewhere, and Rome wasn't built in a day, as they say.
That's
You got to
true.
take steps, and you never know who may be watching. You never know who may be listening. You never know who may be tuning in. So take advantage of opportunities. I'm all about opportunities. I don't like chance, because chance is, well, it may happen or it may not happen. Opportunity is you putting yourself out there for something greater and bigger down the line. It may not happen to you today, tomorrow, but like I said, just like with my publishing company, each one teach one. You never know who you may reach later on down the line. So believe in yourself, believe in God, believe that, and you got to put in the work. That's another big thing. You can't. Believing in God is one thing, but you got to
Yeah.
put in the work. You got to be able to put the work in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's true. Okay, so before we end, I have this thing that I do where, because we are the Honeypot podcast, I want to reach into my honeypot and pull out something. And today I'm pulling out musical artist Zorenzo. I had the pleasure of meeting this young man at In Focus magazine. They had an event, and he was there. He did a song there, and I downloaded his album. It's self-titled Zorenzo. It's available on iTunes, and it features songs like "Under My Hoodie," which addresses Trayvon Martin and the protection of our young Black men. He has a song entitled "Deadbeat," which adopts the feelings of a son's longing for a relationship with his father. And then finally, there's a song there entitled Bands, which is an ode to love and marriage. And I thought that it was just, he really has some wonderful lyrics. So I wanted to kind of give him a little bit of a spotlight and let people know who he is and that he is out there and he's really coming into his own. I also heard a song. He did a song entitled Saturday Love, which you can find on SoundCloud. So if anybody has an opportunity, go out on SoundCloud, look up Zorenzo Saturday Love. And this is, I think, a talented young man, and I think we'll be seeing more from him.
That's what's up.
So I want to say thank you to you. I appreciate you coming on the show, and tell people where they can find you on social media.
On social media, as far as Instagram, each the number one, teach the number one publishing. Facebook, same thing. Each one teach one publishing. Twitter, each one teach one publishing as well. Also, you can order my book off of my website, eachoneteachonepublishing.com. And I'm working on it now to get the book on Amazon.com, but I'm waiting on them, unfortunately. So, but it'll get there though. I'm trying to hit all avenues.
All right. Okay, well, I will definitely put those your social media site in the link so that people will be able to reach out to you. Thank you for everyone for taking the time to listen to the Honeypot podcast. I'm Carmen Hendrix. We had a wonderful co-host, Mr. Brian Handy, and this podcast is brought to you by African Culture. I'll also put a link for you to reach out to them as well. They have wonderful clothing. For more information, you can visit me at carmenhendrix.com, and be sure to subscribe to the podcast, like us on Facebook, Twitter, and we have an Instagram page. That does it for today's podcast. I am putting the lid back on the pot. Until next time. Bye.
Bye-bye.